All right, guys, today's inspiration and wisdom from my walk through the Bible this year is focusing around Matthew chapter 20. Yeah, the whole chapter. Go read it. Remember, RYOS, read your own scripture. But I'm going to share with you today what I got from, again, Matthew chapter 20. And it's another parable. Jesus is taught through a lot of parables. And so this one was titled Parable of the Day Laborers. So a day laborer is somebody who is hired from day to day to do odd jobs. So instead of having one job that you show up to and you know what the work is, what you're getting paid, maybe you're on salary, right? Each day you could be doing different odd jobs, and whoever comes to hire you for that day, you decide on how much you're going to get paid for the work they have for you to do. So before we jump into this, I wanted to say that it starts off with the phrase, Jesus says, "For the kingdom of heaven is like." For the kingdom of heaven is like. And so something that Brian Hardin pointed out in the Daily Audio Bible is paying close attention to different scripture and parables that start like that, because Jesus is literally telling you what heaven is like. Man, I think I would have just skimmed over that in the past reading it on my own. So I did want to point that out to you, because there are several times where Jesus says, for the kingdom of heaven is like. So tune in, get that attention super focused, hyper focused when you come across that phrase. Okay, so he says that leading into the parable of the day laborers. So a master comes out to the day laborers, says, hey, you guys, will you come work for me for a denarius? And this is like early in the morning, beginning of the day. And a denarius is like how much a typical day laborer would make in a day. And so it might be like today between $80 and $100. So they're like, heck yeah, you're paying us what we would hope to get paid. So yeah, let's go. And a while later, the owner, the master of, I believe it's a vineyard, went to go get more day laborers. And that's around lunchtime. And then he goes around almost to quitting time. It's almost time to go home. And he brings in more day laborers. And so it comes time that, hey, the work day's over. Y'all get to go home. And he's paying everybody what they're owed. And everybody gets paid a denarius. The people that showed up at 8, the people that showed up at 12:30, and the people that showed up at 4 all get paid a denarius. Well, as you can imagine, the people that had been working since 8 in the morning are grumbling about, wait a second. So the people that showed up and worked the last hour of the day got $100, but I've been here all day and you're giving me $100? That doesn't seem fair. And the master's kind of taken aback. Like, why are you challenging my generosity? This is what we agreed to. Did I pay what I agreed to pay you? Well, yeah. Well, but you paid them for only an hour of work. Okay, well, I mean, I'm being generous. It's my resources. Do you not want me to be generous? And so again, it turns out this whole story, right, is an analogy of God and us getting into heaven. And man, some people lived a Christ-centered life from the time that they were like 8 to 80. And then there's some people that, accept Christ into their life on their deathbed. And we all, both people in that scenario, get into heaven, right? And so this kind of brings us to a judgment question, right? Where we're trying to be the judges. Maybe thinking that we should be playing God. And we got to be careful with that, all right? This is the second time that I've brought up judgment so far this year. And we need to instead celebrate God's generosity in these moments, because honestly, he doesn't owe us anything. right? He doesn't owe us anything. We owe him everything. So just, got to be careful with this hierarchy that we might be making in our head of who's holier than the other people, and who's going to be in the higher pecking order when we get to heaven. And it turns out that heaven is not, according to this parable, again, Jesus started off saying, for the kingdom of heaven is like. So heaven is not bound by maybe these earthly systems that we have down here on the world, all right? Heaven does not have those earthly systems. And so it goes to the very last part of that parable. Jesus says, so the last will be first, and the first will be last. And that could be the first time you heard it, but if you've been going to church for a while, hopefully that's not the first time you heard it. But if you kind of have that mindset from the get-go, then you can't be like angry about it. It's in the Bible. It's telling you that's how it's going to be, and we're just lucky to make it. I think of the different, I see like, someone let me know, the Army or Marines, where there's that wall that goes like straight up, wooden wall, and you have to get your whole team over the wall, right? And I mean, I've never done that activity, but I like to be pretty strategic. And so if we like had a little plan before we attempted it, I would definitely send maybe the lighter, maybe weaker, again, I'm not trying to offend anybody about this, but I would send the lighter and the weaker people over first, and I would want my stronger ones there at the bottom, maybe putting out a knee, maybe pressing the other guys over. And then after like the medium guys get through, they're hanging over like barrel monkey style to help the strong ones then up. And in that illustration, it kind of mirrors what we saw in the parable, right? Whoever maybe is new in their faith, the last ones to accept Christ, getting over that wall first. And you know who's helping them over that wall? Community is a really big part of our faith, are the strong ones. They should be supporting, not saying, hey, I'm the strongest, I need to go over first. They should be there at the base, in my opinion, helping them over. And then once the people are getting over the wall, they're reaching back and helping pull up the strong ones, the ones that got them there. So that's what came to mind. Again, there's a lot of ways to still make these biblical stories in scripture relevant to our lives. So definitely find whatever way, whatever analogy works for you. Just make sure that it stands up to the truth in the Bible. And check in with your judgment again today. Not just with those. The last video was more about those that you don't think are living a very Christ-like life. They might not be, but you don't know how their story's going to end. But watch how you start comparing yourself to other people in the church, in your community, other believers. Avoid that hierarchy system, okay? According to Jesus, that's not how it works in heaven. All right, y'all have a wonderful day. Get out there, share the message, share what you're learning. We'd love to hear it. Talk to you later.